is Jew Ranger, which I know some people online make fun of that, but because it's just for me, it's like when I was thinking of like, starting to watch Super Sentai, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna watch the first season that was used for Power Rangers,
Okay.
and well, I've read the premise, I do like it, and right now the first number of episodes are good, and I was so sad when I was like at the time, like episode 10 was just like, it's not subbed.
Yeah. They're subbing it right now, so you probably want to keep watching that or keep an eye on it. As for the pronunciation, I just say tomato, tomato. Um, my Japanese is not that good at all, so I'm not very concerned about the pronunciation right now. I'm still learning.
Understandable. I mean, it's just me when I try to learn. I do try to learn it the right way. Because I remember, this is for me back in the day when I took my German 1 class.
Hmm.
We had a teacher that was teaching it the first year. It was her first year teaching it at all, so she really didn't know. She was actually pretty much learning at the same time we were. And then when I took my German 2 class, it was the only true German teacher in all of my high school, and I actually started learning the words, how to pronounce them properly.
Okay. Well, I'll probably start practicing the pronunciation once I learn the language, because that's how I started with English, and my pronunciation in English is still not that good right now. So yeah.
Sounds
Um.
pretty good to me.
So yeah. Zoo Ranger. Wait. How do you pronounce it?
Apparently it's pronounced Jew. I thought that was weird, and if you look at the letters, but that's what it's pronounced.
Okay. Well, anyway, Zoo Ranger.
Yeah, either way. Let's get off of this.
Okay. You liked it. It was pretty different from Power Rangers, right?
Definitely. It's actually when it came to them getting the Zords
Mhm.
and like the particular like items, they actually expanded on it instead of it just popping out like nowhere. Like Billy made it, or Zordon had it in the bag. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw. I really wanted to see my first ever Power Rangers episode, which was still my favorite, actually. And it's not Green with Evil like everybody else's.
Sorry, I
Um,
grew up on that. That's still one of my favorites.
my favorite is Happy Birthday, Zach, which is my first ever episode because I had it on VHS, and for nostalgia value, and I like the Black Knight. It was a pretty nice fight, and when I compared it with Z Ranger, I saw a lot of different scenarios on each episode. It was pretty good, and which brings me to my uh what was the word? Disappointment with the new Saban era with Samurai. You know, comparing the quality of Mighty Morphin with Samurai, you know, it's a little bit too campy for my taste, Samurai. The characters are the script is basically Shinkenger, but dumbed down with uninteresting characters. The only character that I really like on Samurai is Mike because they developed him a lot more than the other characters. Um, have you guys seen Samurai yet?
I saw like an episode or two and I didn't like it.
Same here, but honestly, in some ways you shouldn't, and we kind of should have seen that coming because, and I do remember reading this. I think it was I forget what magazine I read it in, but they were interviewing Saban, and he was talking about how Disney was dealing with Power Rangers, and he said when basically, when he's taking over the reins again, he said it's like, yeah, I find that Disney did not properly exploit them.
Yeah. Um, I think it would have been better if they did that. um, because at least they had in the first Saban era, they did their own stories. They did the Sordon saga, It was pretty good. It was very original. It got everybody interested on who's gonna be the sixth ranger. How are they gonna go from point A to point B? How are they gonna get out of this scenario and all that? But with Samurai, it's just if you've seen the script, you know what will happen. From if you've seen Shinken, you're not missing much. Right now, I don't know what they're planning to do with
Super Samurai.
yeah, Super Samurai. And supposedly they already revealed the Super Samurai before the season began because they showed the movie where they showed the upgrades. I don't know which Red Ranger was it? I think the Overdrive one.
Well, I saw episode I saw of that. Actually, they did use the Super Samurai outfit. I forget exactly what they called it, but then the whole one thing they did, which I thought was weird, is that they have their own outfits for when they do the Zords. Like they have a completely new armor, and apparently that armor, if they're in Super Samurai, like in a Super Samurai form, will actually have its own upgrade, which I thought that was weird.
Yeah, and I was like, why can't they use that on the series? You know, off the swords. And even the Gold Ranger has an armor, a different armor that looks pretty awesome, reminiscent to the Green Ranger from Mighty Morphin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, why they did not bank on it and use their own footage and use those costumes for Samurai?
Probably because they didn't want to spend the money, to be honest.
That's a little bullcrap because, in my opinion, because in Mighty Morphin, after they ran out of, you probably know that, after they ran out of Sentai footage, they asked Toei to do more footage for Mighty Morphin from Zero Ranger.
Well, for me, I think that's because, you know, I mean, it could be bullcrap.
That's basically consuming a lot of budget. You know, they're making Toei to make new footage so they can edit it for their own version, and you know, I think it's more economic if they just do their own costumes and do their own footage instead of just doing the stock footage.
Well, I think when it came to the back in the day, I mean, that's maybe or maybe not bullcrap now. I honestly don't know because I'm not in the studio or anything. But back in the day, I think it was because after they're starting to run out for the first season, they started kind of panicking. It's like, we gotta make sure we keep this going on so it can, you know, run in syndication. And soon enough, you know, because they were still trying to use the original Jew Ranger costumes and not actually move on from series to series because they wanted to keep it a continuation, but they didn't want to constantly do, at the time, they didn't want to constantly do costume changes and whatnot because they thought it'd just be, you know, it wouldn't get the kids interested because all of a sudden there's a whole new costume design. They think the kids would just, you know, basically be confused. And basically, I know after a time, they basically, you know, decided to bite the bullet, film their own footage, and soon enough, they actually got, you know, basically their own fight scenes and everything where not only did the regular actors know how to fight, but, you know, they had their also stunt actors, and they just did that for a while before they finally said, okay, we're going to use, you know, when they decided to go for Power Rangers Zero, they're going to use, you know, that series footage. Now, I will say, at the same time, in a way, because they did that, in some ways, you know, based on, you know, what their original premise is as far as hiring people, they did hire people that actually knew how to fight, you know, not just the stunt actors, but the actual actors themselves.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Forever Red episode, if you look, basically, you look at, you know, Austin St. John and Jason David Frank, they're the ones that know how to fight, and practically almost the only ones that seem to actually know how to fight, with the exception of the guy who played the Quantum Ranger, which his name I'm forgetting, but I know he was originally a stunt actor.
He is a stunt actor, and currently he's right now doing more stunt work and all that.
And actually, most recent thing I saw him in, there was some kind of fan footage, set up where they were honoring how they're doing the Street Fighter Cross Tekken. He played Ryu.
Yeah, I saw that. Actually, I just
Yeah.
watched that today, and it had
That was
Mark
good.
Musashi as Kazuya from Tekken, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Okay. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Samurai, Jacob?
Like I said, I thought it was lousy. Or just from the episodes I saw, I was just kind of disappointed in it. I mean, maybe they'll get it right with the season that they're basing on Gokaiger, maybe not. Who knows? I mean, I'll probably watch the Gokaiger season just because, again, I liked it, but I don't know. I just hope that they really improve after the crap stain that was Samurai and Super Samurai.
Yeah. Yeah, that Super Samurai, I really have no opinions on it because I haven't watched it yet. And I only saw clips of it, and now they have another form that is supposed to be called the Shogun mode,
Actually, I forgot.
which is the new battleizer.
Actually, no, the Shogun mode, it might be used as a battleizer, but the first time I saw that form is actually when they were doing their sword footage, and that became, when they were doing, I think, their more powerful Megazord, that was actually the new armor that replaced their Zord armor.
Okay. I guess I'll check it out whenever I'm able. Well, time's up. Well, guys, this is it for today's podcast. For the next episode, I would like for you guys to bring us some questions, anything regarding the show, and we'll try to answer it as best as possible. So, I'm Odin.
I'm Lord Speech.
I'm Perkstall.
And this is Japan Legends Podcast. Thanks for listening.